Hello, everyone. Welcome to Yoga and How to Modify. This is all a part of bringing a yoga practice to you that you can make into your own. So, my name is Dee. I'll be guiding you today. I'd like to start myself from a seated position on a chair, but you can sit on your mat on the floor. If you're sitting on your mat on the floor, please use something to elevate your hips, such as a block or a rolled up, folded up blanket or towel. Whatever you have handy works. A couch pillow sitting kind of on the edge of it works as well. So if you're seated in a chair like I am, it might help to have blocks under your feet. I barely need them because my feet do touch the ground when my hips are all the way to the back, as I'd like for you to sit. However, this just makes it a lot easier to ground down through my feet. I don't have to work. Gravity is doing the job for me. With my spine resting so that my trunk is relaxed here, we can lean back on the chair. Now, if you're seated on the floor, you're going to have some action happening in your core muscles to hold you up. See if you can slightly tighten your stomach muscles, no matter which position you're in. And let's close down the eyes. Today we'll be doing a breathing inquiry from a book called Breathing Book, Good Health and Vitality Through Essential Breath Work. And this is written by Donna Farhi as a practical guide to improving concentration, deepening relaxation, and much more. So, sitting comfortably in your chair or on your mat, begin to notice your breathing. Your eyes are closed so that you can more easily direct your attention internally. So, notice your breathing. If you haven't altered it, that's good. Just kind of notice it before you make it different, letting your breath do what it will. And sometimes just calling attention to the breath makes us lengthen it just because our body's used to that once we connect. Slowly now begin to rest your attention on your exhalation and let your awareness travel down the length of each exhale. Do this a number of times, enjoying the sensation of your breath effortlessly leaving your body. What do you find at the end of the exhalation? Do you feel any kind of momentary pause that follows the end of the exhale? This pause may be brief, a momentary hesitation, yet something very special happens in that pause. It's best if we don't try to make the pause happen or to extend it forcefully. Simply relax and let it be and let it happen. As you surrender to the restfulness in the pause, you may find that it lengthens on its own accord. Trust that the next breath can arise out of that pause without you having to grab for it. Notice that within this pause, there is no thought and no movement. You may experience it as a pregnant silence, much like the silence you feel when you enter a forest, all those trees buffering. The inhalation then is born out of the stillness of the pause, and the exhalation dissolves into it. this pause is a well for you, a resource that's always available. Know that at any time when you feel tired or confused, hurried or overwhelmed, you can draw from this well for rest and replenishment simply by entering the pause at the end of the exhalation. Without anticipating or projecting the outcome of the next moment, can you wait and see what the next breath brings? Take a moment to sit with that experience that we just had. Perhaps letting go of the pause and letting the breath rhythmically move from the inhale to the exhale and over again. And let's now practice a pranayama breath. We've done a little bit of a meditation on our breathing, it was guided. Now we'll kind of go off on our own at our own pace and rate. I'll sit quietly for a few moments once I guide you into this breath if you're not familiar with it. In Ujjayi or victory breath, we constrict that area in our throat around our voice box. We're narrowing the passageway of the windpipe. And so go ahead and do that as you're ready and just keep that constant hold there so that the inhale and the exhale are constricted, they're slowed. You're not getting as much air, but you're getting enough air because you're making your breath longer to compensate. And this will bring you into a meditative like state where you might find those moments of quiet mind, quiet body, still mind, still body. And those are the moments you'll relish in. Take 2 to 3 more Ujjayi breaths. And at the end of that third exhale, release the breath once again into that cadence that your body will fall into as a result of your yoga practice. All right, so just adding a little bit more meditative quality to this class as we learn how to modify our yoga to match our abilities, capabilities, our body's proportions, our flexibility, our balance, our strength. So many variables. So this class is meant for a wide, wide audience. Let's start moving. Let's begin to move our fingers, our thumb, our hands, our wrists. And if it's accessible to you, start to move your toes, your feet, your ankles, maybe your lower legs, your forearms. And no matter where you are, you could be seated on the mat, seated on a chair, even lying in bed. Let's begin a morning greeting. I don't have a whole lot of room here because I'm going to come down to the mat later. So I'm going to draw my arms forward and up So another way to modify your yoga is to modify what you're doing based on the space that you're in. I recently taught a student in a different context than this class who was practicing in a closet at her work during her lunch hour. And so you may have very little room. You can always accommodate your practice to account for that. So in a morning greeting, we start with a sun breath. Our arms are down by our side. Let your next inhale move your arms out and up if you have the room, or forward and up as you take a deep inhale. As you exhale, bring your hands together and place them at the heart, elbows out to the side. Inhale, pausing movement. Exhale, the hands come up, but then begin to turn out and extend that shoulder height. You're lengthening your arms here, keeping your palms together, gaze ahead. Inhale, draw the arms and hands out wide. Another thing I don't really have room to do. So, for example, you could bend your elbows more and still find that opening in the chest as you come into cow. As you exhale, hands come back, shoulder height in front of you, palms together, but this time the chin is down, lengthening the spine. Inhale to bring the hands back to the heart in Anjali Mudra, gaze forward. Exhale, hands come down once again by the sides to start all over again. Let's repeat this a few times so that this becomes rote memory for you. It's called morning greeting, but you can do it at any time of the day or night just to give yourself a little bit of energy to stretch in between changing positions or to stand if you're working in an office and need to get up from your chair for a few minutes. So, inhaling, the arms come out and up. Exhale, hands together down to the heart center, gaze forward. Inhale, lift the fingers up and out. Exhale, come into cow, lift the chin, open the chest. Draw your arms and hands back behind you. Then let the next exhale bring you to cow, rounding the shoulders, dropping the chin, hands pressed together. Inhale back to Anjali Mudra. Exhale, arms down by your side. Inhale, lifts the arms out and up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale. Exhale, fingers forward. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, heart center. Exhale, arms down. Inhale, lifting arms, sun breath. Exhale, Anjali Mudra. Inhale. Exhale, fingers forward. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, heart. Exhale, release. From here, let's move to the middle of our folding chair or chair. We can now release the blocks from under the feet, unless you still need the blocks to be able to make ground with the floor, to ground into the floor. But from the middle of your chair or sitting up nice and tall still on your mat with elevated hips, let's take a sun breath into a forward fold, legs in any shape. They could be in butterfly, they could be in staff pose, they could be in any shape you wanted, knees bent or straight. Inhale, take a sun breath to lift the arms once again up overhead, just like in a morning greeting. Exhale, bend your elbows, begin to lower your upper body towards your legs and release your head last, letting the chin tuck as much or as little as you'd like, lengthening the whole spine from the tailbone to the brainstem. holding on to the bottom of the chair perhaps, or using your hands on the floor to support you. I'll model another way you can use blocks here. If you're not able to round through your spine and you'd like to keep your crown lifted diagonally, you can prop your hands up on blocks in a forward fold and never come lower, like especially if you get dizzy when you fold forward, or if you fear you won't have the leg strength to keep your hips up in the chair. There's lots of different things going on. Maybe the knee issues prevent you from folding forward more. On your next inhale, we'll lift back up to seated. From here, if you're seated on the mat, find your way to standing, coming up through a high kneel, maybe table to a high kneel to standing, pressing on the back foot with one knee forward, pressing down on that foot and lifting the hips and shoulders up. If you're seated in a chair, I'd like you to get up and then sit back down a couple of times, but we'll do this very slowly. If you're inclined to do the same, getting up and down off the floor from your mat, that's actually really beneficial too, to make all those movements strung together very fluid. And that's what we're trying to achieve from our chair here. So hands on the tops of our thighs, press into both feet, all four corners evenly, and stand in alignment, everything stacked on top. Then begin to bend down through the knees, pressing into the feet as well, lowering slowly the hips into the chair, and then repeating this movement a few times, engaging the core to protect the spine as you lean slightly forward, nose over knees, to achieve that seated to standing position from a chair. We'll all end standing up, okay? At this point, we can use a chair to help us balance on the mat. We can use the wall. We'll be doing a little of both, and I'll be modifying and adjusting to show you how to change poses based on the position that you're currently in. So if you need to, stay in your chair, because I'll show you in a moment how you can modify these poses seated in a chair. All right, so the first standing pose we'll do is mountain. We're going to stand either close enough to a wall, if we're not using a folding chair today, or we can hold on to the back of a chair. It could be a kitchen chair, dining room table chair, folded chair. This is just easiest for me to move around. You will likely not be moving around as much as I am. You don't need to, right? All right, so do what you need to do with that said. All right, let's move into chair pose. So we'll sink our hips as we bend our knees. The hips are coming back and down, and more of our thighs are engaging. We can hold on to the chair to make this happen. Holding onto a wall, table also works. Pressing down through the feet, inhaling, straightening the knees whenever you're ready to release, and making it a flow to sink into and then to lift out of as needed. Everyone, once again, moving to doing yoga at your own pace. If you're in a chair, this isn't going to be easy to emulate. But if you sit at the very edge of your chair, your sit bones are still maybe in the final third of the chair. So you've got quite a bit of it under you still. You're walking your feet out so that your heels are always right below your knees. Okay? And so to do chair, you may hold on to the seat, press into the floor, and slightly lift the hips up off of the chair. Or your hips may never lift, but you're applying that strength through the arms and through the four corners of each foot. Okay. All right. From here, either standing on the mat facing your screen or seated on the chair as I am on that final third, but sits bones still very stable here, we'll do a chair sun salutation. If you would rather do in your mat practicing today, and you'd rather do a regular mat sun salutation that you've learned or that you've done with me during a Vinyasa flow class, go ahead and do that. So do you see how you're kind of choosing your own adventure here? If you'd like to follow along with the chair sun salutation, do so. If not, tune me out, do your own thing. It starts with a sun breath. So inhaling the arms out and up, exhaling, hands come down to heart. Inhale, exhale, forward fold. Let the head release. Inhale, press down through your feet, untuck your chin, and lift your body back to neutral, and the hands lift up and come straight out. Okay. Exhale, we'll do a twist, starting with the right hand, bringing it down, and then up and back. We'll inhale, coming back to center. Exhale, we'll move the twist to the left. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, lift one knee to chest. Inhale to neutral. Exhale, opposite knee to chest. Inhale to neutral. Exhale, let's do a forward fold again. Inhale, come up halfway, hands on thighs. Exhale, sink into your forward fold again. Inhale, lift the arms up overhead as you come up to seated. Exhale, hands come to the heart. All right, let's do that a couple more times. Get this kind of into our muscle memory. And even if you don't remember all the steps later, this gives you something else you can do. Even lying down in bed, you could do this one. So we'll inhale our arms out and up. Exhale our hands to our heart. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bring the body back up to seated or standing, and the arms come out straight in front of the body. Exhale, come into a twist on the right. Inhale, back to center or neutral. Exhale, twist on the left. Inhale, neutral, central. Exhale, bring one knee into the chest. Inhale, back to neutral. Exhale, opposite knee. Inhale to neutral. Exhale, we'll come into a forward fold again. Inhale, we'll come halfway up. Hands on thighs, flat back, shoulders down. Exhale, release again over the lower body. Inhale, come back up to seated or standing, arms straight up overhead. Exhale, hands come to the heart. All right, one more time. Inhaling the arms out and up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, up to seated or standing, arms straight out. Inhale. No, sorry. Exhale, come into the twist. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, twist opposite. Inhale, back to neutral. Exhale, one knee into the chest. Inhale, come back to an alignment. Exhale, opposite knee to chest. Inhale, back to this neutral position. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, release over the knees or legs again. Inhale, come all the way up to seated or standing. Exhale, release the hands to the heart. From here, if you would like to continue your mat class, staying on the mat for practice, we're going to move through hero 1, 2, and 3. I will show you 3 different ways. We'll do each 3 times, 2 different poses for each hero. And I can show you 3 different ways to do it each time. So that way, no matter how you're functioning, you can feel the same opening as others do in other positions. So we'll move into hero 1 by turning to a slight diagonal to our left. We'll let our right knee and leg reach back behind us. We can stay up on the toes, or we can put the foot in another position that feels okay to our body. Okay. We're going to turn our hips towards that forward knee, and it's okay if the right hip hangs off the chair a little bit. Make sure the right sits bone and the left sits bone are grounded and secure, with the left sits bone being in about the middle of the chair if that's where you are. Let's release our arms down by our side, and we'll inhale the arms out and up into a V, or wherever our arms land, however much we can lift, that's what we do. Taking 2 to 3 breaths each time we shift into a position. Now let's make this hero 1 into an arrow by releasing the arms and hands down and back, rotating the wrists as we lean the head, neck, and chest forward, bringing some weight onto this left leg. And so we're strengthening the left leg by bending slightly over as much as we're safe to do with staying in our chair here. When you are ready for your next inhale, shift back to hero 1. So press through that forward foot, bring your shoulders back up over your hips, and lift your arms any degree or amount. If you ever want to change a pose and make it a 2-breath transition, you could inhale first from arrow to bring the shoulders back, and then next inhale lifts the arms. You don't have to do everything all at once. You can slow down your yoga practice. You could speed it up. Either way, that's how you modify it. When you're ready to come back into your arrow, 2 to 3 breaths in each shape. Feeling your body perhaps get smoother and smoother through these repetitive movements as you make yoga your own. Let's come back up and we'll switch sides. This time we face the right over that right knee and leg. Left leg drops down. We're going to face our hips as much toward the side as we can. Okay. And then as you're ready, inhaling, lifting the arms any amount. Exhaling after 2 to 3 breaths to come into your arrow on this side. Perhaps you're only lifting one arm. You're using the opposite arm to hold on to a wall if you're standing, a table. Maybe you're holding on to the back of the chair with one hand. 2 to 3 breaths. However, your rate of breathing is moving today, fast or slow. A lot of that having to do with your mood, your energy level. Let's come back to center and sink back towards the back of the chair. All right, let's just take a quick break to check in with the body, check in with the hips. And now let's move the knees all the way over to the left, both knees. We're going to face the left wall of the room that we're in. Sits bones are on the chair. This time we'll release that right leg right next to the chair. We can keep the toes curled under or flatten the foot, sorry, back there. All right, that's one way. Another way, if you feel safe, is to stretch that right leg back behind you. You could sit on a block if that made this position more comfortable for you, as long as you felt secure here. We're headed to Hero 2, no matter where you are, standing or seated, maybe using a wall or not. When you're ready, inhale your arms parallel to the ground. Make sure your chest and your hips are facing the diagonal, just like they would be, just like they are when standing. So modifying the chair pose to still get the same results, the same stretching and opening of this back leg and this front knee. From here, we'll come into reverse hero. So we can take 2 half breaths, exhaling the back arm down, inhaling the front arm up, or we could, on the next inhale, move both arms together to come into this position. And we'll flow after 2 to 3 breaths to our Hero 2 and back into reverse hero when we're ready, moving at our own pace. Always working to achieve comfort in each pose. So whatever is able to rest and relax needs to be comfortable, right? So that those things that need to be active can be accessed. All right, let's shift in our seat, bringing our arms down, our legs together to the center, and then over to the right side. Let's come into your Hero 2 legs. And then inhaling the arms out and up to parallel. Moving into your reverse hero as you're ready. Maybe you're only taking 1 breath in between each, or 2. Maybe you're taking 4 as a way to modify and adjust. And then releasing the arms, drawing the knees together at the center once again. Oops, I did forget to model this from all different levels. My apologies. Hopefully you're figuring it out if you're standing. Okay, All right, let me do this one. Hero 3 to knee lift. I see a way of doing this from the standing position, but still with a chair, with the wall, a table, without any of those. It's all good. And I think it's best to turn the seat toward us. Let's stand in mountain, wherever we're comfortable, maybe on our mat without anything around us. Maybe we're propless people. Let's stand evenly on both legs, but then lean into your right leg and lift your left leg and knee, placing the foot on the chair. If you are stable without using a chair, this is what it will look like. You're lifting your knee. There's no support under that left foot to help you support your body. Maybe you're holding onto a wall or something that's going to keep you steady, right? From here, we'll come into Warrior 3 or Hero 3 by letting the knee slowly kind of arc down so it's next to the standing leg knee. And then we'll reach our upper body forward and down to place our hands on the chair or perhaps on a block if we want to stay or need to stay more lifted. Maybe you're using the back of the chair, but it's just hard to bring the knee forward, and then bring that leg back into Hero 3. So this is a flow from standing knee lifted. It's a more complex flow, perhaps. You can figure out how your body can best manage. And maybe this is one that you modify the number of breaths. You might come back to mountain and rest in between each of the flows from those two poses. And when you're ready to release, come up into a standing position, being careful of your back. Let's now use the wall, no matter what you've been using with your practice beforehand. Okay? We're going to stand in front of a wall or a door where there's no furniture and we can bring our heel to the wall. This happens to be a Murphy bed behind here, but it's serving the same function as a wall. It's nice and flat. So first, just feel with the back of your head touching the wall, your shoulder blades touching the wall, then your lumbar spine is away from the wall, and your sacrum is flat against the wall. So I was overarching my back. Make sure your back is in a neutral position by just having a small portion of your spine lifting away from the wall here. We're pressing into the wall with our calves, and we're pressing into the floor with the bottoms of our feet. Let's now turn toward the left, and we're going to extend our left arm straight up and out like it's 9 o'clock from your vantage point, I think. Or maybe it's going to flip me and it's going to be 3. I don't know. Inhale, we'll lift the arm and hand straight up and down with our gaze forward. And then begin to flip your palm and see if you can keep reaching your hand up, over, and then down and around so that you end up where you started. Let's now do that opposite. So we'll release the hand. It will go down first. Then it'll draw up and around. You keeping your feet in the same position. Hips are kind of twisting a little. The body's twisting a little as you turn towards the wall, right? and we'll end back up in the same spot. Then let's move our position so that we can work the opposite arm here. So when you're ready, you're standing next to the wall, your shoulders touching the wall, your arm is hanging down right next to your side body. Now let's inhale to first go up and over, getting to the point where we need to rotate the wrist, and we're reaching now back and over and down and in. We'll come back to our same position, and then we'll do it the opposite direction. We'll go down first, up, back, and around, and we'll come back to our same position here. All right, next, using a chair as your stabilizer, using the wall on your mat. Let's take some sun breaths, inhaling the arms out and up, or maybe forward and up. Exhaling, releasing the arms down by your side. Inhaling the arms up. Exhaling, bring hands and arms back down to your side. Keep moving at your own pace. And when you're ready and you feel stable, lift your heels as you lift your arms and hands. Slowly lower your heels as you lower your arms and hands. And move at your own pace. Last one. Next time your arms are releasing down towards your side body, you can leave them there. Let's come back to a seat on the mat, or perhaps a seat on a chair or on the edge of your bed. Sitting up nice and tall towards the middle of the seat so that your feet can be planted squarely, flatly on the floor. We'll begin to first do pelvic tilts, hands on thighs or knees, and let's round the shoulders, dropping the chin slightly. And then let's inhale, lifting, arching the back. Exhale. We're tilting the pelvis, arching the back, and then rounding the spine. Let's bring our spine to neutral and let's add our arms, letting the next inhale lift them out wide like wings. As we exhale, we'll draw the hands forward toward each other. As we inhale, we'll rock on the pelvis. Backs of the hands drop back behind us, arms extended, chin slightly lifts, and we'll go back and forth. Make this movement really small if you're dealing with osteoporosis. If you're over the age of 55, we'll come back to neutral position, sitting up nice and tall. All right. Let's cross our right leg over our left. So maybe moving the left leg closer, crossing right thigh over left. We'll come into eagle legs. If you're seated on the floor, you can come into shoestring. You could do easy pose with the right foot on top of the left, the right lower leg on top of the left. Sitting up nice and tall, inhale, arms go out wide like wings. Exhale, we're going to bring our hands together. We'll cross the left wrist over the right if we're able to make an X with our arms. Now bend your elbows and bring your hands in. If it's difficult for you to cross over, you're going to bring your hands and elbows as close together as you can and then bend through the elbows. Give yourself a pat on the shoulder. From here, find your way to eagle arms by bringing the hands back up so that your fingertips are pointed toward the ceiling. So however your arms are shaped, you'll inhale, lifting the elbows, lifting the fingertips, stretching the arms up, and then exhaling to release slowly. Elbows draw in towards the chest. We'll relax and release the hands and arms, and we'll uncross that right leg. Let's do some knee swings, either or windshield wipers, really, whether we're keeping our knees together or apart, doing them individually or not. And then as you're ready, set up the eagle legs on the opposite side. You could still remain standing if you want to do eagle from that position. So crossing this time the left side over the right. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, brings the hands together. Maybe crossing the elbows, maybe not. Right over left this time. Then we'll bring the hands to the shoulders in a hug or a pat. Find your eagle arms. Backs of the hands might draw together or palms are drawing together. Inhale to lift towards the sky. Good. Exhale. You can stay here or begin to lower and release. Lowering and releasing on an exhale as you're ready. Elbows float down towards ribs, lower ribs, and then the legs and foot uncrosses on the left. And we'll come back into a neutral position. This next sequence can be done either from a seated position on a chair or seated on the mat. If you're seated on a mat, come into staff pose and then lift your left foot and knee and put it on top of the right. Stay even on both sits bones, releasing that left knee out and down. Maybe pressing the left palm against the left thigh. Maybe having this pressing be continuous, or perhaps you're modifying and adjusting with a little movement here. Pressure, release, pressure, release. You can come into a deeper version if you're on your mat by drawing both legs in. If you were supine, for example, relaxing the left knee out and down. Keeping the right knee in alignment with the right hip, the right ankle, the right foot. Transition now with this left leg into tree pose. If you're seated on a chair, you can straighten your right leg and bring your left leg to the upper thigh, to the lower thigh, just not along the knee. You might feel a little better scooching toward the edge of your chair, and that may not be a move good for you at all. Press through the right heel. Keep the right leg active, and again, release that left knee out and down. Next, transition from this tree pose on the left into butterfly pose. Holding onto your chair, perhaps propping yourself up with your arms if you're on the floor. However this works best for you. Now from butterfly pose, transition to tree with the right knee being the one that's lifted. And we can keep this foot on the floor. We're extending through the left leg, pressing through the left heel. We might bring the foot to the inside of that left leg somewhere. It just depends on where we want to go. where it feels good for us to go in our bodies. And now let's come into butterfly once again, bending up through both knees, bringing the soles of the feet together. If you would like to cool down using your mat and you're currently seated on a chair, you can. If you would like to stay in your chair, I'll cue the next steps for you, which are right now in a chair to stay in butterfly. If you're transitioning down to the mat, come into supine butterfly. It would be okay to place your blanket underneath your head here. And I like to use blocks. Sorry, it's hard to talk as I was moving. Underneath my knees, or maybe where the thighs hit the floor, giving my legs permission to release and open a little more, feeling supported. We'll transition from butterfly into a two-legged twist. If you're seated, you'll lift both knees together, walk both knees to the right side of your chair, and you'll turn your chest towards the right so that you can hold on to the back of the chair for this twist. If you're in reclined butterfly, lift your right knee up and over until the right hip lifts up off the mat. Keep the right shoulder grounded. You might even keep the block underneath that left leg as the knees have rocked over to the left here, coming into a two-legged twist. Take 2 to 3 breaths here. Find length in your spine. And on the next inhale, begin to shift so that you can turn your twist over towards the opposite side. This time, knees sway or walk to the left side of the chair or mat. Arms hold the back of the chair as the upper body turns to the left, maybe even chin moving to the left shoulder. Opposite the knees, taking 2 to 3 breaths here. On your next inhale, moving back to center and shifting towards the back of your chair, knees facing the front. If you're seated, if you're lying down supine, transition into corpse pose or constructive rest pose. Lengthen the back of the neck. Let the shoulders come down, flattening on the back side of the rib cage, broadening the collarbone, and then closing down the eyes, coming inside once again. If you'd like to slip into Ujjayi or victory breath, like the beginning of class with the pranayama we did, please do. If you liked the meditation on breathing and finding that pause after the exhale, please sink into your own meditations. focused on the breath, no matter which option you choose, and letting the body relax into your prop, whether it be a mat or chair or bed. Releasing your breath work, releasing your pranayama, letting the body go back to breathing itself. Take 2 to 3 more breaths here. Now, begin to rock your head from left to right, slowly, mindfully. We'll bring our chin back to center and let's shift and transition onto one side, pressing ourselves up away from the floor. If we're seated, we'll come to the middle of the chair, walking our hips forward, maintaining heels underneath knees, pressing into both sits bones no matter how you're positioned. Unless you're laying down, pressing down through the bottom of your spine and backs of your legs, arms, and head. We'll all inhale. One last sun breath brings the arms out and up overhead. Palms come together, and we'll exhale, hands to the heart. Closing down the eyes, let your next exhale release your chin to the chest as we bow to the divine within us. The light in me honors the light that is in each of you. Let your next inhale lift your chin back to neutral, flutter open your eyes, release your hands, and thank you all so much for joining me in yoga and how to modify it. I hope you're receiving some good suggestions, alternatives, and substitutions for what you're doing in yoga class, in your yoga practice. Take care and see you next time.